The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation or Stewart Title. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title is here to inform, entertain, and inspire you. Host Bill Napick from Stewart Title will talk with guests about what really matters when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title starts right now. Here's your host, Bill Napick.
And welcome to the show, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Napick, hosting the show. This is where America tunes in to hear great real estate talk. Sometimes we even go on the road like we are today in Tomball, Texas. So whether you're listening in Houston, Texas, Tomball, Texas, or anywhere else, we have designed the show for you to enjoy it because we always have great people on the show every time. Interesting and very interesting as we talk about the Tomball area. People in Houston always want to know. So we're glad you joined us on Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, and we are always brought to you by Stewart Insurance and Risk Management, their president, Tom Carpentier. So let's start. We're going to really find out what's going on. We're going to go in depth. We're going to go another layer and find out what's going on in Tomball. We have Kelly Violette. She is the executive director of the Economic Development Corporation right here in Tomball. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Very nice to be here. And you love Tomball. I already know. I'm guessing
I do love
that.
Tomball. There's a lot to love here. Tomball is one of those cities that it just kind of has that magic to it. Those that move here, those that are from here, there's a charm and a quality to Tomball that people, it stays with people. And, I mean, that's really what attracted us to this area.
And tell us about what your organization does as you are the executive director.
We do three primary functions. Business retention, so working with our existing businesses that are already here, that have already invested in Tomball. We work to attract new businesses, so we do things like financial incentives, walk them through the process. We help to facilitate state incentives for companies that are either looking to relocate from outside the region, outside the state, or outside the country. And then we also work on legislative type issues, coordinating economic development efforts both regionally and statewide.
And so many areas in Houston and the surrounding areas have grown so much. Give us an idea of, let's say we are at the end of 2016 going to 2017. Give us an idea from your perspective the kind of growth that you have experienced right here in the Tomball area.
Well, to give you a statistic that's kind of staggering, if you look at our growth since 1970, we've grown 350%. That's a tremendous amount of growth.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And in a town that's about 12 square miles. We're still only about 11,750 population, so we are still a small town. But you see the landscape of Tomball, and those that knew Tomball once as kind of that sleepy town, that quaint little town on the far outskirts of Houston, now don't see it quite that way. We're now really a regional center. We're a draw. We have a lot of employment opportunities and a lot of growth. And there's the Grand Parkway, which has really kind of been a game changer for us with regard to the growth. So.
And let's say that again. Did you say 12 square miles or so?
12 square miles, yeah.
So people can visually picture a map and just picture that area right around, and that is the Tomball area that you serve and live every day.
Exactly, and you can kind of pinpoint State Highway 249 and FM 2920 as essentially the center of Tomball. Our school district boundaries extend much further beyond that, and so Tomball has an identity that extends well beyond our city limits.
And when we reference the growth here that has been evident in 2016, as we look ahead, and as you look ahead, and your organization looks ahead for 2017, what are you bracing for, and what do you see in that crystal ball?
Well, we're still seeing a lot of activity and a lot of growth, but I would say it's very cautious growth. Whereby the ExxonMobil effect of that campus relocating to the North Houston area has really spurred a tremendous amount of growth in a short period of time. Now we're seeing that kind of settle in. We're seeing companies that are relocating here. Packers Plus Energy Services is one that was the first land sale in our Business and Technology Park. In total, they're going to be bringing about 353 employees to that facility. That'll be their U.S. campus. GE Betts just purchased a lot in our Business and Technology Park, and so they're going to be building a 42,000 square foot lab facility. It's about a $22 million project, 75 employees. You're looking at scientists, engineers, so good quality jobs.
Right here for 2017.
Right here for 2017. But I will tell you there has been, I think a bit of a hesitation, and we're probably seeing that nationwide. Getting through the election, there was a stall. There was a point in time where we weren't seeing much activity at all. It's starting to pick up. I think people are optimistic, but I think they're being very cautious because of the uncertainty of the policies that may change nationally and how that'll affect businesses.
Slow, steady growth.
Yes.
Interesting. The 350%. It makes me just wonder what does lie ahead when we will boil it down to the numbers. So that's kind of exciting. Mm-hmm. Give us an idea too what your organization does as you deal with businesses and you look at the growth and all these things. Tell us about some of the mechanics that actually take place.
Really, to be honest with you, a lot of what we do is we act as the liaison between that business and city government. We help get them through the process. We help work them through permitting, whether they have to go through rezoning, whether or not they have to annex property. And so we are there as their advocate, as their ally to help walk them through that and to make sure that their process is as smooth as possible and can be as successful as possible. The incentives that we offer, those are really one of the last things that a company looks at. They look at workforce primarily. They look at quality of life and what your community offers, and that's where Tomball is a huge advantage. We have a very healthy workforce. We have a community college system that really is a true partner and advocate for workforce development in our area, and you really can't beat the quality of life here.
Interesting. Before you said quality of life the first time, those were the exact words in my head. I was thinking, let's talk about the quality of life. So, as we've mentioned it a few times, let's talk about the quality of life. Let's say someone's talking to you that's thinking about bringing a business here, or they just want to talk to you about Tomball, and they say, Kelly, what about the quality of life in Tomball? How do you describe that?
That's a very, very common question, and we get that, from the highest level, and then sometimes I have the wives call me and say, all right, now give it to me straight, Kelly. What am I looking at? What are the housing options? What are the schools like? What amenities? What does this community offer? And that's where my job gets really fun because I can brag on Tomball all day long. Tomball has an amazing school district. We have health facilities that you don't normally find in a community of our size, between the Tomball Regional Hospital, the VA, all the support services with regard to the medical industry. We are a community that really you can go from cradle to grave, and that's one thing that I think a lot of people find attractive about Tomball. It's not one of those where it's just a college town, or it's a community that is more catered towards those that are retiring. It really provides something for everybody. Our festivals that the city puts on and that the German sister city organization puts on. We've got German Fest coming up fairly soon next year. It brings in a lot of people. You're talking thousands of people from both outside our region, and we've had people that come to the festivals, outside of the country just because they've heard of Tomball. And this new branding that the city has engaged in, Tomball Texan for Fun, that's something that really is sticking.
Let's say that again.
Tomball Texan for Fun. And, the thing that rings true to that is when you come to our festivals and you see all the activity, and they're all free, there's something about that environment. It's very family friendly. It's very safe. You leave with a good feeling, kind of that Norman Rockwell feeling when you go home, that you've been to one of those towns where people really, really care. And that's something you can't hardly quantify it. You have to experience it.
And that's a great reference. I haven't heard the Norman Rockwell reference in a long time. Mm-hmm. And I used to even have a book. It was about this, and people can't see us, but a fair-sized book, and it had some of the great drawings and paintings of Norman Rockwell. And when you look at one of those pictures, certainly that does bring you back to a nice, nostalgic time, and it gives you a comfortable feeling. You're saying Tomball does that too.
It does. It really has the best of both worlds. You've got this historic downtown, which is kind of our central gathering space. That's our multi-event, kind of platform where people come, they feel that center of Tomball, and then you have some of the new growth. So you've got a lot of the retail opportunities that have taken place along the eastern side or the western side of Tomball along 249, and then you've got a lot of employment centers that are starting to come up, like the Business and Technology Park. So it really has done a very good job of bringing all of that together in one location that has retained that character and that sense of community that is hard to replicate in other areas.
And Kelly, if someone were in the Houston area listening to this, what would you tell them as an attraction for Tomball? Should they be thinking about going to another city or leaving the hustle and bustle of Houston and they're considering Tomball? That's the first question. The second one would be, what would you tell someone that's out of state that's thinking about Tomball?
I would tell them really the same thing. I would tell them that Tomball is far enough away from the city to where you have that quality of life. You can breathe. You can walk down the street and send your kids to school and have a sense of comfort and security. But you also have access to all the amenities that the city offers. You have quick access to the airport. And then with the Grand Parkway coming in, you can essentially get from I-10 to I-45 in about 25 minutes. And that's just incredible from an access standpoint. So you really have the best of all worlds with the strategic location that Tomball is. And
Kelly, say with another minute or so, what else would you like people to know about what you do and about Tomball?
I think I would like to tell people that Tomball is a place really that has a lot of growth potential. But it's going to be channeled growth. It's going to be growth that is consistent with the values of this community. And Tomball is very much holding on to that. So when you see areas that are just, they're growing like crazy and they have no long-term plan, Tomball is not one of those. Tomball wants to grow in a manner that's consistent with our culture and our heritage here. And that's something that I think a lot of people really, really like about Tomball.
And let's tell people, should they want to reach out to you and your organization, how could they do that?
Our website is Tomball, TXEDC, as in Economic Development Corporation.org, and my telephone number is 281-401-4086.
One more time.
281-401-4086, and the website is TomballTXEDC.org.
Kelly, Violette, what's your favorite color?
Oh, I got to say Violette.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Kelly Violette with the Tomball Economic Development Corporation. She is the executive director, and we are going to take a short break and come right back on Real Estate Matters.
Most people don't know that Stewart offers business, home, and auto insurance. In fact, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management has been doing that and more for over 10 years. And they partner with many leading insurance companies to offer great rates. They're a national insurance agency operating in all 50 states, delivering a broad range of insurance products. Whether you need a home insurance quote for a client's home closing or your own insurance needs, you can count on them. Call 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Stewart Insurance and Risk Management is here to help.
And welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Bill Napick on the road right here at the beautiful Stewart Title in Tomball, Texas. And now we have Rene Buckhoff with Remax Elite Properties. Rene, thank you and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you again for having me, Bill. I appreciate it.
And it's been a while. You've been on the show before, but it's about time you came back.
Well, thank you. This is my third time to be able to visit with you, and I'm definitely coming this time from a different perspective than we've had before.
And let's tell people what that perspective is.
Well, 3 months ago today, we opened Remax Elite Properties here in Tomball, Texas. Yeah, that's been a pretty exciting adventure, ongoing for the last year and a half in our life, and it's just really, it's pretty cool.
When you open something that's new, as you've been a realtor for how many years now,
I've
Rene?
been a realtor for 10 years.
So here you are. This is another chapter in your real estate career.
Definitely. It's and it takes a lot of thought process. I had a fantastic real estate team I still do. But when you make the decision to make a diversion and become a broker owner, it's not an easy decision to make. But it felt like the right time, and Tomball definitely felt like the right place.
In fact, yes, a lot of extra things come on your plate, and certainly the realtor, the real estate professional already has so many things that they must do, but now we're getting into the area of leadership and bringing other people on board, I guess, right?
That's correct. Part of my new job is to recruit and retain agents, and I want to make sure I'm recruiting the right agents, the agents that are going to serve Tomball well and serve our clients here well.
And that's not necessarily easy. In any world, in any profession, it is hard to find, I think, the right company, and if you're the right person, it's that right match. Both things have to line up, so discernment on both sides is so important. How do you navigate this world of bringing on the right people?
It's a process of not hiring every single person you talk to, for sure. I invite a lot of agents to sit down and visit with me. Not everyone is going to be a good fit for our culture or our environment. Not everyone's going to have the strong professional background that I'm looking for. So it's a process of getting to know people and being willing to say no sometimes.
No and yes are two very simple but powerful words. They
and
serve
not
us.
easy. It's not easy.
That is right. They serve us, or sometimes they drag us down, depending. Now, in the meantime, let's tell people, as far as the market right here in Tomball, right now we're at the end of the year, looking at 2017. Well, how would you tell people it is right now from the real estate perspective?
I've talked a lot. 2016 has been a really odd year for real estate, at least for my business and for a lot of agents I've spoken with. We feel a real sense of hope and optimism in looking at 2017. The oil industry affects our real estate market substantially in the whole Houston market, and we are part of the Houston real estate market. There seems to be some movement in that, gaining confidence back in the real estate market. This area, there's so much growth. Every major road you drive down, you can almost find a new subdivision popping up. That indicates a lot of confidence in the buyer market as well. So I believe going forward in 2017, we're going to see a much stronger real estate market than we've had in 2016.
And when we think about the economic drivers here in Tomball, what are they? Yes, oil, and that's on the low end right now, but what are the other economic drivers that drive this market?
I'll be honest, Kelly hit on a lot of the key factors that drive our Tomball market. People are looking to get out of the hustle and bustle of the big city, and she said Tomball offers charm, and that was exactly the word in my head, that there's a lot of attraction to this market because of the small town feel, but the easy access to all of the amenities and the wonderful benefits we have of living in a major city like Houston. We have fantastic schools. We have a lot of new subdivisions that offer a lot of amenities that the buyers are looking for. So it's not even people that are necessarily moving into Houston. A lot of people that are in Houston are moving out our direction, and that's really positive for the Tomball housing market.
I think so. People, as I live right in the center of the city at 610 and Woodway, I'm right there with a lot of things, but I get tired of the congestion. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about that small town feel. Sometimes I want a small town feel in my life. So I don't know what the future holds, but this could be a consideration.
It's a huge consideration. One of my favorite things is when we have someone who's not familiar with the Tomball, the city, the town of Tomball, to come in and ask me to give them a tour. I want to take them downtown. I want to take them by the Whistle Stop Tea Room and Nani's Ice Cream. I mean, there's just a lot of little private family-owned businesses here, and people find a real attraction to that. They want to do business with those kind of companies and those kinds of places of business. So it's a real attraction to get away from the big city.
Well, there's the small town feel, but also I think a lot of people look for extra room, and you offer that here in Tomball, a place to just spread our wings and to have a little more room.
You know, we have some of the best parks, places to go if you want to go for a run or take your dog for a walk or let your kid go ride the bike, go fishing. We offer not only room between homes, but there's room for recreation as well, and that's an additional attraction.
So someone can have a home with a lot of acres, right? Or even 1 acre or half an acre.
You can go outside the city limits and get a little bit of acreage. I feel like Tomball we're in an area where we're surrounded by some other areas of where there's been really strong growth. But you're right, the places have been a little bit overbuilt. So people are coming out this direction also looking for a little more space. And we can go any place between here and Magnolia or here in Hempstead, and you can get a little more land so you feel like you can spread out.
And tell us about the price points, if you would, Rene.
I would say our average price point really falls very much in line with what the average price of a home is in the Houston market. $200 to $250, and that's going to be your average price point. But the beauty is we offer homes that are more in the entry level market. You can get a nice home here for $150,000 to $200,000, or you can get a luxury home for over $1 million. Whatever the buyer is looking for, we can find you a house here in Tomball.
And if someone is in the Tomball area and they want to sell their house and you're talking to them about that listing, what are the things that you're telling people about that are thinking about selling their home right now?
Well, setting a proper expectation for a buyer or seller, is really important. Our average days on market falls very much in line with the Houston market overall. We're right at about 3.8 months of housing on the market. So you have to understand that it's not necessarily something that's going to move immediately. The higher price point homes typically take a little longer to sell. So it's really, when I'm sitting down with a seller, I want to set the expectation of what's going to be they really are going to be facing.
And people are always reasonable about what their home's worth.
Yeah, I wish they were.
That's probably one of the challenges of being a real estate professional.
No matter what market you're working in, that is definitely one of the biggest challenges. But also where it comes to being a true professional and being able to examine the market data and giving your seller real guidance and educating them. I don't call my listing meetings listing presentations. I call them listing conversations. It's a two-way street, and it's got to be a win-win for both my seller and myself. It's got to make sense for them to put their house on the market, and it really has to make sense for them to price it correctly.
So a lot of information is exchanged when we're establishing those expectations, because it's so important. You do this every day, all day, and the people don't sell their houses every day.
No.
Most people, maybe what? Is there an average?
About 7 years is the average that someone will stay in their home. I will tell you that in the Tomball market, it's more typical for people to stay longer. People are more settled here. A lot of times the neighborhoods, people have lived in their home for 10 to 20 years. That's not an uncommon thing. So there's updating that might need to take place, pink carpet or wallpaper. There are a lot of things when I go into a home where a family's been there for a long time. I've got to educate them on what actually is selling now.
Would you think it's a good idea, as people, we live in our homes and so forth, but would you say it's a good idea to talk to a real estate professional even when you're not ready to sell or buy? Just, you have to stay tuned into what's going on in our world around us.
We are consultants, and that is that's one of our main jobs, is to help homeowners, not just buyers or sellers, but to help a homeowner. If I've got a friend or a neighbor who is wanting to do a home improvement, I don't mind at all giving them my opinion, and it's strictly that, my opinion, based on what they're wanting to do. Is that going to make sense if, for some reason, in the next 2 to 5 years, they're going to have to sell their house, so that they don't personalize it so much that it's going to actually hurt them?
And what do you tell people that say, Rene, I want to live in Tomball and my price point is about $300,000. What are the choices that I would be able to see?
Well, there's a lot of other questions I would ask, more than just price point. I want to ask what major thoroughfares they need to live close to. Where do they work? Where do their children, if they have children, where do they go to school? Or what schools specifically do they want to be in? Tomball offers some of the best private schools as well. We have some of the most fantastic public schools and private schools. So those are all questions that would go into my interview process when I was trying to find out where a buyer would want to live.
So there's just a lot of consultation that goes on with both parties, and that's fascinating. Also, Rene, would you tell people how they can reach out to you if they'd like to talk with you?
Absolutely. Again, I'm at Remax Elite Properties here in Tomball. We are in the Tomball Marketplace. It's where the office is. My phone number is 281-639-5982, or you can contact me at Rene at renebuckhoff.com.
281-639-5982. Is that right?
You've got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, good to see you again, Rene.
Thank you, Bill.
Rene Buckhoff with Remax Elite, and we are going to take a short break. Bill Nampick here on Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stay with us. We're coming right back.
Stewart Title has been serving Texas for over 120 years. A Texas treasure, Stewart Title's longevity is a testimony to superior service, innovation, and knowing what their customers want. Recent surveys show that 92% of respondents want secure online tracking tools to help them during the closing process. Stewart Title offers the most robust and secure system to track transactions online available today. To learn more, contact Stewart Title at one of their many offices around the city. Stewart Title, online at stewart.com. That's STEWART.com.
And welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title in beautiful Tomball, Texas. And now another real estate perspective with Patrick Buckhoff. He is with Coldwell Bankers Commercial. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Very exciting to have you here. And you have, let's tell people about your organization, your company, and what you do here in Tomball.
Coldwell Banker Commercial Advisors is the largest dedicated commercial brokerage in the country. And we have about 3,000 agents throughout the U.S. and globally and operate in 40 countries. Here in Houston, we support the Houston market, Tomball market for both industrial, office, land development, multifamily type properties.
Now, you're based right here in Tomball, is that right?
We're actually located in Houston. We cover this entire area.
But you live here, right?
Yeah, I live here.
And
so
you enjoy it,
I'm
I'm guessing, huh?
I have a vested interest in this area.
In fact, you know Rene Buckhoff, is that correct?
I do. I've heard of her.
Well, that's very interesting. Well, also, from your perspective, Patrick, let's talk about the marketplace, say from the commercial aspect and how you see it right now at the end of 2016.
2016 has been much more positive than 2015. 2015, it was a really tough market. I think 2016, we're essentially coming out of a trough, right? We saw very little job growth, comparatively speaking, in 2015, 2016. 2017 is now projected to be better. We're seeing a little bit more stability in the oil prices. It's really going to key on jobs. Job growth and primary job growth will spur growth both in the Tomball area and throughout Houston in general.
And when we think about residential real estate and commercial real estate, two different things, but they are also tied together. How do they work with each other and cause and effect and things like that? What would you tell people about the commercial side that they may not think about that, say, a residential realtor thinks about?
Commercial is distinctly different than residential. There's a lot of things that there's some overlap, right? Obviously, where people want to live has to do with where their businesses are going to be, right? If you're relocating a business, as Kelly will tell you, you need good school systems generally, right? And people want to live if they have kids, where they want to attend school. And so there's some overlap there in terms of locating companies or where companies may want to expand to. After that, it's really about job growth, right? People buy homes when they feel good about the economy, when they have a reason to relocate, upsize, right size, whatever it happens to be. And it's similar in business. The economy really dictates their expansion plans, the lending environment, and what they're going to do in the future.
And when I think about commercial, I hear the term rooftops. How to tell people about that? You have to be where the rooftops are or something like that?
No, that's a good point, especially in retail community. Retailers are looking for certain demographics, and it ties very much to rooftops. They look around, they say, well, how many people are in this area? It could be economics, it could be a variety of different things, age groups, similar with medical. They're looking for rooftops. So as you have the population growth, those will attract those kind of industries specifically.
So give us a word, too, as far as the commercial aspect. You're selling properties, but also I would think that in commercial there's more leasing that takes place, or is that so?
No, that's a very good point. Most businesses will tend to lease their properties. They can own them, and sometimes the numbers and the metrics work out where it makes more sense to own. But the vast majority of businesses will lease it. When you walk down the square in Tomball, most of those properties are leased. And so we specialize in helping tenants find the right properties, and we specialize in helping landlords find the right tenants, because truth be told, it's better to want something you don't have than to have something you don't want.
And then at the same time, I would think, Patrick, that you would sell, say, either the land or the shopping center too. Does that happen?
We do that. We help, specifically, I help owners develop land for retail purposes, or once a business, whether it's a retail or an office business or even an industrial business, is established, they'll sell it. You know, they may sell it and lease it back. They may sell it to the new owner. They may sell it and move on down the road to something else.
And would it be safe to say the span of the sales cycle, so to speak, say residential, and you're really close to a residential realtor, so you know how that works. But the sales cycle does it take longer in commercial? And if so, how much longer would you figure?
It generally does. I would say what I tell my clients is generally if you're selling a property, 12 to 18 months, depending on how aggressively you approach the market. One of the things we've seen here in the Tomball area, especially on the industrial side, is it's just there's been more properties available than there have been buyers for. We're starting to see that change now, and so some of the inventory has been bought up, and so those cycle times, those selling times, those times on the market will decrease.
So as a real estate professional, you even have to have some extra skills. Like one of the ones I struggle with is patience. How do you do that?
I think it starts early in the process with managing expectations. You know, when you lay out an expectation of what should be done and you're able to give your clients, I give my clients feedback on what we're doing in terms of exposing their property to the market, not just passively. I mean, anybody can throw something up on a website or a web page or go to a meeting, but actively pursuing potential tenants or buyers for their property directly. And as they see those things going on and you've managed their expectation in terms of how long this process takes, they understand that and they receive it well.
And when you decided to get in the real estate world, how is it that you chose commercial versus residential?
Well, I had done commercial business. When I ran the supply chain for a couple companies, all of our real estate ended up in my lap. And so I had kind of a natural affinity to it. And my wife, who is a very good residential broker, indicated that, the empathy sometimes required for a single-family home buyer may not be where my skills lie.
Interesting how she knows your skills at this point. But that's true. Each one of us have different things, and it's great that when we find what we're suited to do in that way, it just makes life so much better.
It does. And sometimes, as the great philosopher Dirty Harry once said, a man has to know his limitations.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I just picked up two of the classic Clint Eastwood movies, Magnum Force and Dirty Harry. A lot of wisdom to be found with Dirty Harry, no doubt about it. But also, as a professional, let's look at this. Let's share with people, whether they're residential realtors or whatever they do in their life. As a business professional, and we're ending the year, and you're looking ahead to 2017, just would you share some of the core principles of your success that you've learned along the way that just help you be a better business professional?
I think first and foremost, you have to serve your client or your customer. Number one, you have to take care of them. It also means that there's sometimes you have to say no to things. You can't be all things to all people, and the earlier you understand that, the better off you are. And then I think the other thing is focus on what you're good at. And to the extent that someone's better in an area than you are, maybe that's an opportunity to bring somebody on board who can take care of those things.
Also, give us a word, Patrick, if you would, about planning. Planning is so important. Again, I always think about planning this time of year. I look at those blank day planners and I say, gee, I wonder what opportunities that I'm going to be able to make that present themselves, what challenges lie ahead. Give us a word on planning and how you approach planning, whether it's the new year or the next quarter.
I really think you need to even start earlier than that, especially in the business community. You really need to be keeping a look at where you're going to do 12 to 18 months out, just because things take that long to develop. If you're working on new product development and funding for, whether you're looking for property, whether you're buying it or leasing it, you just have to understand that cycle always takes a little longer than you think, and you have to be prepared for that.
And when you serve buyers or sellers, certainly a lot of people are right here in Texas and Houston or even in Tomball. They come to you for your services. But what about how often do you talk to people outside of the state that are seeking to your commercial services?
Pretty frequently. I was just on the phone with two people yesterday, one out of California and one another place in Texas. One of the beauties of the Tomball area is we're actively attracting businesses. One is because you've got good quality of life, good transportation. Between the expansion of Highway 249, the Grand Parkway, that gives you access to just about everywhere you need to be in the city. So what used to be maybe not a positive for the Tomball area is now an easy solution. And when you have an educated workforce, a good community college system, it's a favorable place to come, and so they're looking for those things. And Texas overall has a very business-friendly environment.
Indeed, a lot of things are lining up, making Tomball very exciting and a great possibility for businesses and people that want to buy homes. Patrick, tell people how they can reach out to you.
Probably the easiest way is just directly. 281-686-9445 is my number. Otherwise, you can reach me via email, patrick.buckhoff@cbcadvisors.com.
And the phone number one more time, Patrick.
281-686-9445.
And, you brought up Dirty Harry. It just made, as we're talking, my mind just wandered and made me think, I wonder what kind of realtor he would have been, huh? What if someone made him mad? He would give him the right information, I bet.
I don't think he'd mince words.
Exactly. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Buckhoff with Coldwell Banker Commercial. Patrick, thanks for being on the show. And you're listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, your host, Bill Napick, and we're going to take a short break and come right back.
If you've been in the real estate industry for any length of time, you know unexpected and costly events can happen. Safeguard yourself against the unexpected with Real Estate Errors and Omissions Insurance, or E&O, through Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Not all E&O insurance policies are created equal. How confident are you that your current E&O policy fully protects you? Stewart Insurance and Risk Management offers expertise in the real estate industry and tailors your coverage to correctly manage your risk. With Stewart Insurance and Risk Management, facing the unexpected just became a lot easier. Safeguard your future with real estate E&O insurance through Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Call today at 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Or email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com to request tailored insurance options for you and your business.
And welcome to the show. We now have Will Elizondo. He is the Vice President of Operations and Program Sales at Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Will, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. It's a pleasure to be here.
Super awesome. Realtors are exposed all the time to liability of all sorts. And first of all, what's the most important thing they should know about from an exposure standpoint?
Yes, unfortunately, like you said, there is a lot of exposure that they face every single day. And so from a minimum standpoint, from an insurance perspective, that we would like for them to consider is that they want to make sure that they have proper E&O insurance, that they have general liability insurance, cyber liability insurance, and then also some form of auto coverage.
And that's a lot right there, the way you said it. But those are really basic things, but they should know about all those categories. And first of all, give us a quick word on E&O insurance.
Definitely. So with E&O insurance, it's what's looking to protect the real estate broker as well as the agent and any of the support staff for the professional services that are being provided to others.
And certainly there's so much more. But also let's hit a very important thing that I know realtors think about this. They're in their cars all the time. They're showing homes. They are bringing potential buyers to many homes sometimes. Give us an idea. What should they know about when they have, if I'm a realtor and I'm driving around with my client in the car and or the client's husband and or children, what should I be thinking about to be protected?
Well, someone should definitely consider the limits of liability that they're carrying on their personal auto. They also want to have the communication with their current auto insurance agent and ask them to determine whether they need to be considered a business use operator. So that way, when there is an event involving some of their clients being in the automobile with them and they're involved in some form of accident or bodily injury, then their auto insurance policy is not going to look to deny a claim when they need it the most. And then from the broker perspective, they also want to make sure that if they don't have a commercial auto policy to protect the firm for any of their agents that are out there driving around with clients, that they also have a hired non-owned endorsement on their business owner's policy.
And repeat that if you would. A hired
And non-owned endorsement. So that's if the broker themselves doesn't have a commercial auto policy because they don't have any of their vehicles registered in the company name, they could add a very inexpensive endorsement to their business owner's policy that then would now provide usually the policy limit. So if they're carrying a $1 million general liability policy, the broker now has coverage for a commercial auto exposure when they're out and about with clients.
Very interesting. I bet sometimes some brokers may forget about that part or forget to ask their insurance agent. Also, give us an idea what other things. What about an umbrella policy? Should the agent have an umbrella policy? It sounds like that might be a good idea as well.
Yes, definitely. We always recommend an umbrella policy because you're able to add additional layers of higher limits of coverage, where you can have $2, $3, $4, $5 million worth of coverage for a very nominal fee. Because usually, since it's a second policy in line, they understand that there may be an underlying policy for $1 million or $2 million in place prior to them having to step in. So the premium is very, very low in comparison to the primary policy. So we definitely recommend that they consider an umbrella policy at a higher limit.
So much they need to think about, not just realtors, but everyone out there. And, of course, we remind them that Stewart Insurance and Risk Management offers, you don't have to be a realtor to get the auto insurance or any of the other insurances, but they can go to stewart.com, right? Go to the first tab. You'll see personal and commercial insurance. And there are so many questions, and everyone's needs are different, right?
Yes, exactly. And so we do attack each of the customers from an insurance perspective by truly trying to understand what their needs and their wants are in order to make sure that the products that we're bringing to the table for them to consider are truly going to look to provide them the coverage that they need.
You actually, like a handmade suit, you tailor the coverage to the needs of the individual or family, right?
Every single day. That's what we strive to do.
Very nice. Will, tell people how they can reach Stewart and Insurance and Risk Management.
The best form of contact would be our main line number, which is 866-845-4676, and one of our insurance advisors would be more than happy to help them.
One more time on the number.
866-845-4676.
Stewart.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Will Elizondo. Thank you, Will, for being on the show.
Well, thank you, Bill.
Most people don't know that Stewart offers business, home, and auto insurance. In fact, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management has been doing that and more for over 10 years. And they partner with many leading insurance companies to offer great rates. They're a national insurance agency operating in all 50 states, delivering a broad range of insurance products. Whether you need a home insurance quote for a client's home closing or your own insurance needs, you can count on them. Call 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Stewart Insurance and Risk Management is here to help.
And welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, your host, Bill Napick. We want to thank the amazing Sandy Reed right here in Tomball at the Stewart Title office. It's been here since 2001, I think she told me. So if you want to close, we are doing the show right at the closing table. So I would encourage you, if you want to be right where we are, and I know you do, you can close your real estate transaction. Just tell Sandy you want to be right where we did the radio show. And now let's talk to our guest again, back here with her favorite color, which is violet. We know that from a great source, Kelly Violet with the Tomball Economic Development Corporation. Kelly, welcome back.
Thanks, Bill. It's a pleasure to be here.
Exciting. Now, as the show has progressed, let's tell people, as you were thinking about maybe something else that you want to tell people about what you do and what is here in Tomball, let's share that with everyone.
Well, I think what I would say in closing is if you're looking for a place to either grow your business or to relocate, consider Tomball. Tomball is one of those places that is few and far between. It's very, very unique. And it has a lot of growth potential with all of the roadway construction with 249, with the Grand Parkway, and so it's easy access and really a great place to live and to work and to raise a family.
And if people want to know some information or get some statistics about what's going on here, I bet you have a whole bunch of that.
We do. We have probably more information than you'd want to digest. If you look at our website, tomballtxedc.org, you can search properties that are available in the Tomball area. You can get a list of demographics. You can get overviews of incentives, workforce information, pretty much anything that you want to find out about Tomball, you can get from our website. And if you don't find information that you're looking for, give us a call and we'll help you find it.
Website again.
tomballtxedc.org.
And another word, Kelly, again, I get so excited at this time of year, and as I think about what lies ahead, 2017, it's going to be very interesting, but give us another thought of what your thoughts are about as you look ahead and how you plan your business, your next year, 2017, and even each and every quarter. Share that with us, please.
I think the word I would use to describe that is optimistic. I think people are, we've been through the slump, we've been in the low, and we're seeing the stabilization of oil prices. We're seeing the stabilization of some of the uncertainty, and so I think a lot of people are very optimistic about where the market is going to go over this next year and about their plans for the future.
Very nice. Ladies and gentlemen, Kelly Violette with Tomball Economic Development Corporation at tomballtx.org. Thank you, Kelly, for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Excellent. And now, Rene Buckhoff. Rene, boy, you heard your husband. It's just a real estate family, isn't it?
We are a real estate family, and sometimes our children get really sick of that.
Well, okay. I'm just after hours. If you'll share with the listeners, do you always talk real estate? Or how do you make a break where you say, "Hey, let's just stop talking real estate"? Does that ever happen?
It's really difficult because it is our life. It's our livelihood. It's what we know. It's what we love. So since the elections are over, we don't need to talk politics anymore. So it's back to real estate.
And fortunately so. I'd rather talk real estate any day of the week. However, though, as we talked to Patrick about the idea of the commercial and the residential real estate, from the residential world that you live in, you probably learn from each other. What are the things that you learn being right there with someone that's in the commercial real estate world that helps you in residential?
Well, I have a little bit of an insight sometimes to new businesses that are coming in because I do live with Patrick, and he's got a lot of good knowledge and information. He's involved in a lot of good networks here in our community. So that does give me a leg up on knowing what's coming ahead, which is pretty exciting. I love having that advantage.
And that gives you an edge, but it also, I would think, gives your buyers and sellers an edge too. No, Rene Buckhoff. Oh, yeah.
That's the hope, exactly. And on the flip side of that, we've also had property owners approach both of us to say, hey, will Patrick help market our property, because we know Rene can help bring in the people to run the property or run the business. So that has happened as well.
That's so awesome. And I bet every once in a while you'll close right at Stewart Title, where we're sitting.
Oh, I have closed at this table, and I'm very proud to say that they are one of my partners for sure.
Well, and as you talk about your husband and yourself and Stewart Title, a real estate professional, and all of us really in life, we need a team. And you have to have the right team. Like John Maxwell said, it takes teamwork to make the dream work. And without the right team, it could be a nightmare.
That is so true. And I love having the team here at Stewart Title to work with. They help us look good to our buyers and sellers, which I couldn't ask for more.
Well, that's so awesome. Also, tell us what other thoughts that you have, Rene, as you look ahead to 2017, or anything else that's going on that you want to share.
Well, I think one thing I would love to share, as I mentioned, we've opened a brand new office, and I'm looking to grow that office with well-qualified, highly professional agents. And if there is an agent out there that serves the Tomball market, the Northwest Houston market, and they're looking for a new home, I would love the chance to speak with them. If they would give me a call and we can sit down over coffee and see if it's a good fit or not.
And tell people how they can reach you to do that.
My number is 281-639-5982, and that is my personal cell.
Very nice. Also, one last word. What else should we know about the residential world in Tomball, Texas?
It is going up. That's what I would say. Have hope. we've heard the word optimistic here several times, and I think that is just that's the truth. That's what we're looking forward to in 2017.
And I would put forth, as someone that lives in the busy center of Houston where there's so much going on, you hear people about buying homes in Brenham and the Hill Country and all that. Listen, I don't think you have to drive that far to have that extra space, to have that weekend mindset. You can come right here, save a little bit of time, and still have amenities, but also have that some extra land and extra room.
We have any kind of property that a buyer is looking for, that it's available right here in Tomball, Texas.
Very nice. Once again, your phone number, Rene?
281-639-5982.
And could we talk to your husband right now?
That would be my pleasure.
He's right here, and here he is. I love husband and wife teams, especially when you are working so well, successfully, and you're working in two different categories of real estate, both essential, both very important. Patrick, welcome back.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Very exciting. Well, also, what else should we know, Patrick, as the show's progressing and almost over? What else should we know about your commercial world or working as a team?
Well, I think with respect to the commercial world, 2017 is going to be an upswing. And regardless of the type of business you have, we have what you're looking for here in Tomball. Whether you're a retail operator, industrial type company, an office user, or someone looking to develop or invest, we have it here in Tomball for you.
Excellent. Well, how can people reach out to you, Patrick?
Probably directly is the easiest way, 281-686-9445, 281-686-9445.
Also, as I'm looking at your card, Patrick, your corporate address, CBC Advisors, 2121 Sage Road, right?
Exactly.
I could
Not
walk
far
there.
from you.
I could walk from my house over there. I'll have to go over and tell the guys that I met you.
Absolutely. We'd be happy to have you.
Very nice. Also, one last word. Tell us give us a core principle of success that has served you well, Patrick, in all these years. Go ahead.
I think it goes back to understanding where your strengths lie, focusing on those, and if you're going to make a commitment to somebody, deliver on it.
No doubt about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Buckhoff, Coldwell Banker Commercial, and you have been listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Thank you for listening. You know the show is over at the time of broadcast, but the show never really ends. Why? Because you can hear this show again and again at Stewart.com/Houston. That's where we have the show archive. Once again, Stewart.com/Houston. We are over now 150 shows, so all kinds of great content. You've heard about Tomball, Texas today, but you can go to those archives and hear more about all the areas of Houston. In fact, every once in a while, the other week we were in Denver, Colorado, talking to real estate professionals there about what's going on. So there's always great stuff to learn. So you don't have to be buying or selling your home to enjoy the show. No, because we make it interesting all the time. Once again, go to Stewart.com/Houston. And of course, when you're closing in Tomball, Texas, go to Stewart Title, Tomball, Texas. Ask for Sandy Reese. And if you're in the inner loop of the city or any other part of the city, give me a call at 713-210-9767. Again, 713-210-9767. I am located in the Kirby location right there at Richmond and Kirby Drive. We have the A-team of closers just like they do right here in Tomball. Sanford Real, Lauren Reed, they are there to serve you. So until next week, Stewart.com/Houston, and we'll see you next week.
Stewart Title has been serving Texas for over 120 years. A Texas treasure, Stewart Title's longevity is a testimony to superior service, innovation, and knowing what their customers want. Recent surveys show that 92% of respondents want secure online tracking tools to help them during the closing process. Stewart Title offers the most robust and secure system to track transactions online available today. To learn more, contact Stewart Title at one of their many offices around the city. Stewart Title, online at Stewart.com. That's STEWART.com.